Like, I mean, there's varying different points, and like there's varying different things which can be true at the same time. Like supporting the independent sector was something which was demanded of RTE back a couple of years ago when it was in the middle of the controversy. Now it's like, well, why aren't they using all of their journalists to sit around for 6 hours while they're shooting this ad? Which would be a story if you had all these journalists in RTE who were told, you're sticking at that desk for 6 hours while you're going to be blurry out of focus, and we get nice clean shots of your colleague. There'd be uproar. There'd be office politics about that as well. Look, there's multiple things which can be true here. It is something which has caused consternation. My colleagues in RTE who I've spoken to about this in the newsroom in RTE aren't particularly happy about this. They want this whole thing paused because of this scrutiny on it, and because, as you say, the newsroom there needs a little bit of extra love / a full refurb. Yeah, and just so people are clear that we're not just kind of talking superficial terms. I mean, I'm not just saying this to be provocative or scandalous either, but it's documented that in the relatively recent past, a ceiling tile literally fell down off the ceiling in the newsroom and struck somebody. And they were lucky that it weren't terribly bad injured. But such are the circumstances in RTE right now, where it has been almost unpopular, or it would look like it was being indulgent to give the building a bit of a once over or a bit of TLC, but actually it objectively needs it, so no one quibble with that. There is a side point before we move out of RTE about whether this is now going to be the new norm, that in the aftermath of last year's decision to make sure that RTE had stability in its funding for the next 3 years, the heralded 725 million, that because it's now not just license fee money, but it's also taxpayer money that's gone behind these things. Sarah, but get your thoughts on this. Whether this is now going to be the new normal, that it's almost fair game for politicians to scrutinise every single little bit of thing that RTE does, including things like self-promotion, because they'll say that it's actually public money and not just license fee money that's going into making it happen.
Look, I think there's an inevitability to that, really, isn't there? And I mean, everything that we saw unfolding, it's hard to believe it was 2 years ago now. We're nearly coming up on 2 years since all of this happened. The questions do have to be asked about how the money is spent and how it's being divided up. I mean, look, I think there's a lot of valid points you make there, actually, in terms of supporting the independent public production sector, and also in terms of, we mentioned there, actors. I suppose this is, opportunities for actors to have a day's work on this promo or on these campaigns. Absolutely, RTE has a role in all of that, but just at a time when money's a bit tight, and you have talent in-house, I'm curious to know why it is that you wouldn't shoot it with your in-house talent editors and your journalists and do it in a way that is time efficient and cost effective. I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. And I think